Hey, what's up, gamers? Now, it might seem like I'm late to the party, but I would argue I arrived just in time because this here Vampire Survivors, if you know, you know, and most people already know, recently came out on PS5, and I say recently, but like within summertime. It's now October, and I got it on sale and all the DLCs for it because I'm really just digging the genre, and I figured why not play the original. But also, in a couple of days on Halloween, they're going to release a Castlevania crossover. So that's sweet, and I'm just in time for that nostalgic drip. So, anyway, this is Vampire Survivors. I've been playing it a little bit, and I've had some really good runs, and you're going to see my best run so far. I don't know too much about the genre, but I started playing, and I started making a build, or working towards a build, that I call Old Man Fartballs and his magic eraser. That's right. Let me do a little bit of my upgrading here, and I'll get to the meat and potatoes, if you will. See, I love the onion garlic power, and then I unlocked this guy who starts with it, so I started building it, and well, I think anybody who plays this game enough knows this is probably a pretty common build, or at least it's probably a pretty exploited build. I don't know, but I don't like having to move around a lot, and I don't like getting hit. So I was like, oh, just give me something that surrounds me. Boom, this stuff's great. And if you level it up and level it up, you get some nice surprises. But basically, I created this build with the old man, who I affectionately called Old Man Fartballs. Because again, if you know, you know, but the art, the icon for the garlic, well, it doesn't look like garlic. And anyway, I just wanted to talk about the game too, because I haven't made any content on it. This is my type of game, and I just love it. I get, roguelike, roguelite, whatever you want to call it, bullet hell, bullet heaven, who cares? One of the taglines for this game is become the bullet hell, so there you go. Either way, right now I'm just starting, and I usually start by just letting everything come to me and die, and then I collect the coins. I can get about a minute in before the other enemies start showing up, depending on which level ups you get. If you're new to this genre, that's what's so great about it. You're just like, this is a one-stick game. I'm just one stick in it the whole time. You move your stick around. You don't get touched, and then you make choices when you level up. And it's that simple. And then the joy of it is they keep throwing shit at you that's harder and harder. And you can like stack and build powers and weapons and augments to all of those things, and it's really fucking fun. And if they would have had this when I was a kid, this would have been amazing, because obviously it's got the retro pixel art style, which is great because it saves on your memory usage, and it makes it, I think it makes it easier to run something like this where you have a lot going on. However, there are so many clones of this now. I just played one and streamed it, and then it was a small version of it called Zombie Survivors, but it was hand-drawn style, and I'm a huge fan of the flash art, hand-drawn style, and so I was hoping that was going to be awesome, which it was, but it was short. I platinumed it and ran out of content, did everything there was to do in it in 2 stream sessions. However, this game has freaking 800 things to unlock, and characters and levels, and the levels have things on them. Eventually you unlock the ability to like open up the map and see where everything is, and there's like a boss on levels, there's coffins you open to unlock other characters, surviving with each character and using each thing and maxing out each weapon unlocks other things, and then you can unlock what I call evolved versions of, or I don't call it that. That's what it's called. It says Evo. It's an evolved version of the of some of the weapons. They basically synergize with other things, and you can end up with a really badass version of it. For instance, this build right here, if you do it right, if I do it now, I've progressed a lot since this. Another great thing about this game, 4-player co-op on the couch. So me and my wife tag teamed it, and we made a bunch of progress. So now if I do this build, I can actually make it to where the Bibles eventually evolve into a never-ending ring of spinning Bibles around you. And the garlic evolves into a big, giant, dark circle that it said it eats their hearts, which I assumed means it heals you slowly over time, or maybe it has a chance to. So it basically makes you unstoppable. And if you have that combination, which I will just spoiler alert, this is my first time playing the game when I made this play. This is my best run I had up to this point. It's the first time beating this world. Each world has like a time limit. You have 30 minutes. If you make it to 30 minutes, you get blasted by the Grim Reaper. Death comes, and there are ways that you can kind of last a little bit longer so far. I've made it. You'll see this one. I did a good job, but I think the longest I've lasted is about 33, 32, almost 33 minutes. I'd have to. It was all streamed, so it's somewhere out there. But point is, it gets hectic, it gets crazy, but then it's over pretty quickly. And don't spoil it for me in the comments, but I know, or I feel like at least, there is a way to kill Death and destroy him. But back to Old Man Stinky Balls here. So you get the garlic and you enhance the garlic. The more the garlic is enhanced, the radius gets bigger and the amount of damage it does is increased, and the speed at which it ticks is increased. It also does like pushback and freezing. So at some point at least, and you can get to where basically one shot kills everything. Then you can also get augments that increase the area of everything. So that increases your area even more. You can get things that increase the base damage of all your things, which makes everything do more damage. And when you combine them, you basically become an unstoppable Roomba. Well, actually, if you combine this all with the magnet, there's also a magnet orb. And if you could build it with that and the magnet, you would become not a magic eraser, but a magic Roomba, because you'd be sucking up all of the loot around you. That's another thing. So like that's you level up by killing enemies and they drop jewels and you want to get them all picked up. And then sometimes you can get lucky and find a magnet ball on the ground, and that will suck up all the jewels that are like, I don't know if it's around or all the jewels on the map. I think it's all the jewels on the map. If you're really lucky, you get one of these, a chest. And then the chests have so far there's 3 different types. There's like this chest, a single, and then sometimes you get a triple chest, and sometimes you get lucky. If you increase your luck enough, I guess, you can get a 5-banger, as I like to call it, and you'll get 5 prizes out of it. And basically, if you're in solo mode, it just gives you, it's free upgrades to your level upgrades to your items. And then if you're in co-op, I really love the way co-op works, because you're just both together on the screen doing your thing, but it takes turns. So when you level up, every time you level up, well, it seems like it takes turns. I don't know. There's only one level up bar, and it seems like every time it fills up, it gives it to the next person. So as the way I see it, it takes turns, which is super fair and super awesome. And you can also sometimes get the option to it gives you a new option for friendship, which just gives both players a free upgrade to one of their weapons. So you can really get some crazy synergy going, but it's really cool. And then when you open chest in co-op mode, it's random. It's like a drawing, and it puts a box with the character on a screen next to the chest, and it spins, picks the item, and then it, like, whoever can use that item is who gets it, obviously, but it seems random. So that's cool, because then it doesn't matter who picks up the chest, because it's hard to get chests. Like, not only are they rare, but like getting to them and stuff can be a pain sometimes. So like it's really cool how they did the random thing, because that makes it fair. And like when we were playing, I mean, there was times that my wife got like all the chests on the map. Like every time it was something for her, but it was no big deal because it benefits both of you. So it's great. And you're both trying to build a build that like synergizes together, just clears the screen, and it's just a fun time. It's a really cool thing that we can have games that look like this still, to me, and that are really fun. Like I think I base a lot of my choices in video games off of like things that I'm like, oh, if I would have had that when I was a kid, that would have been amazing. Because like this looks like something we could have had on Nintendo easily. NES in 1987, I feel like we could have had this game. Like, maybe not as in-depth, maybe not as huge, but like one level, we could have had this game with one stage, for sure. Like, and if not on NES, then by the time we had Super Nintendo, we definitely could have had some shit like this going. So like I base my gaming oftentimes on stuff that's like, oh man, we didn't have that when I was a kid. Like VR is like a hit or miss. Like kids nowadays, they scoff at it if it's not good enough. Like, oh, that shit's whack. But at the same time, I grew up in a world where there was no VR. It was a dream. And so any VR is cool to me. I'm like, oh shit, this game's cool. Yeah, it could be better looking, but like the things you could do are amazing. So this is one of those types of games where it's just like, man, this is just, it's fun. And another awesome point is, like I said before, I'm playing with one stick, one hand on one stick, and you can eat snacks. You can like take drinks, you can do smokes or vapes or whatever you do. Like, it's an easy, even though it gets hectic, it's a chill game. I think, for me, it's my style of chill game. And so that's, it's become a new jam, sort of. And that's what I've been, if you watch, well, some people have watched the streams in and out, but that's what I've been streaming lately. I always like to find something every once in a while to just kind of stream randomly, and I got a few, like I said, it started with like oh, games I can play while I can't sleep, and then I grabbed a few things because there was just a big huge sale on PSN on a lot of the things I was looking at apparently, and so like it's like for less than 20 bucks you get like, you know, a whole bunch of games, and some of them were for the sleeping streams, which is like boring, easy to watch and fall asleep to if you got nothing else. And it's like seek and find games, which it was fine, it was cool. They're boring, but like a game like this was a little bit too hyper intensive to be like, oh, fall asleep to this. Although me personally, I fall asleep watching this because it's my jam, like I said. But as you can see, like, I've got just nothing touching me. And then I added these potions, which eventually become a circle around me of potions that are just an unstoppable wall. And as you can see, the whole idea of the build is just a unstoppable circle. This is my favorite wave. Just when you think it's over and you're like getting a little bit overwhelmed, if you can kill these guys in one hit, then you just go through here and suck up all that XP. And you just go around the map sucking up all the XP. That's right. Get sucked. All those jewels. It's so satisfying. This is my version of like Candy Crush or Bejeweled or whatever. Like just mindless killing of hordes of enemies to get loot. Loot, loot, loot. I call it loot. It's just easier. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. Level it up. Boom. That is a temporary fire power-up that's awesome to get. At this rate, I'm assuming this is a mix of both people who know what this game is and want to see the amazing fart balls, or people that don't know what this game is, and so I'm giving you some information. I wouldn't call this a review, because I didn't call it a review, but like, if I were to throw a review into it, it's that kind of game where you could just mindlessly buy. Oh, it's that kind of game that was under $5 too. So, like I said, couch co-op. My wife loves this game. We were enjoying it. There's 2 more controller spots, which means your kids and your friends can play with you too. You have 4 people going. And it's just a good couch time. In fact, I think the only reason I'm late to the game is because when I was looking for games like this and looking at games like this, it was at a time when my wife did not appreciate the pixel art style. So she was like, what? Looks like garbage. We're not going to play that. And typically I agree. But then I got her to play a couple of games that I actually really enjoy. And finally she was like, broke whatever that barrier was, because then she was like, oh yeah, pixel games are fine as long as you have the right game. It's like, yeah, but what do we want to do? And this is one of those things where it's like, this is what we want. It's like, I've played Crimson Land. We used to play that together. We've platinumed the entire game on PS4 and PS5 because they had 2 versions of it, so we had to redo it. And it's that kind of game where you could just sit on the couch and roam around a screen, leveling up, powering up, killing everything, and you can pause at any time if you need to. But with this game, they've added a whole bunch of other things. And I'm like a completionist as much as I am an ADD, whatever you want to call the made-up version of getting bored quick. So it's like I want to get all the levels unlocked and all the characters and do all the things I can before I even play the DLC parts. I unlocked an adventure mode, which seems to be the DLC ones, and they're separate from the main game. And so I'm assuming they are their own set of maps and characters and weapons and shit, because that is what the Castlevania one's going to be coming up. The Castlevania one said it's going to be like 20 new characters, a bunch of new weapons, a new map, which obviously is going to be Castlevania based, and then it said plus other stuff, which I guess means like secrets and bosses, because like I said, this is a gold rush bomb, like whatever you want to call it, but like all kills become gold, and so when that happens, it's freaking awesome. Another symbol that shows up on the map when you unlock the ability to look at the map. But as you see, we're almost 15 minutes in, and it's a crazy, like, it ramps up in chunks. Like, it ramps up, and then you get a little bit of a breathing space, but not for long. And then it, like, starts ramping up again. And by, like, 15 minutes, starts ramping up real big. And then, it seems like 20... and then at 25, both seem to have kind of like a heavy push. And then, like I said, 30 minutes is when it's over, no matter what you do. So far, I think there's a way to beat it. I'm telling you, man. And I only say that because as a wannabe game designer, somebody who went to school for the whole thing because they want to make games but don't do it, that's what I would do. You can do damage to it, so if you can damage it, like, you know, I got that Predator mindset, like, if it bleeds, you can kill it. And it's like, you can do damage to him, it's just he runs so fast, he rides right up on your ass, and he does so much damage. But I have if a combination of a protection bubble, being able to resurrect, freezing him a lot, that freeze came in handy. Like, if you can do area damage and freeze, and then, like, catch him in the Bible while he's frozen, it's really good. That's what made me last longer. But the freeze is random, and the other parts, like, I don't know. You'd have to be able to build specifically for it, it seems like. And this might not be the build for that, but it is definitely close to a build for that, because, like I said, with the freeze, once he's the only thing on the screen, it's just a matter of getting the freeze to hit him. Now, I don't know about the freeze. The freeze has got to have some kind of evolution. I don't think I've ever evolved the freeze. So that's a whole other thing. There might be something that mixes with it that will improve how it freezes, and maybe there's a way. But again, digression. I feel like you can kill death. They just made it really, really hard. So, but in the meantime, got to finish a lot of levels, got to unlock a lot of characters, and got to unlock a lot of stuff, and then I'll check out the other levels, and then obviously I'm gonna have to get the DLC, because I already did all of it. Was on sale. It costs like $6 to get this whole game and set up all the current DLC, and then I love old nostalgic stuff, so having a Castlevania crossover will be cool. I'm sure they're gonna use all the characters and the weapons and the bosses and the creatures, and it'll just be an old Castlevania theme. I bet we'll get that nice soundtrack. Oh, perfect segue. Soundtrack, dude. Oh, I love the music in this. I hope it didn't seem like it got copy claimed. Some games have music that gets claimed, but it seemed like it was not claimed. So it has a banging soundtrack. It's like, it actually reminds me of Castlevania, but like when you go on YouTube and listen to like synthwave versions of old music from games. I don't know about you guys, but I be listening to some synthwave from like video games and stuff. My top favorite, honestly, is Halo synthwave. If you just go on YouTube and type in Halo synthwave mix, you will get some really good bangers of the Halo soundtracks in synthwave. And there are also similar things for every freaking old game, retro game. So there's a Castlevania synthwave. There's like 100 of them. And this is very similar to that. So I assume they're going to have an official version of the synthwave, like speedy, fast style of music, but with the actual theme of Castlevania, and it'll be an official version because it's an official crossover. That's my hope. I will come back and make a video about it when it comes out, because I will be curious to know. And then if they didn't do that, I'll be upset. So that's where I'm at on that. Castlevania crossover coming up soon on Vampire Survivors. Pretty cool. Now, this game is one of those games that's like, I knew about it for a long time. Like, I'm in the loop of like what games are cool in every different like genre, like everybody's different favorite games, because you hear about them, you see them, they're advertised or they're talked about in circles, and then this is just one of those games that like it's an indie gem that people have always loved. The right people like me, who come into games like this late in the game and go, "Oh man, this is so cool," and everybody's like, "Yeah, we know. We were playing it and we were telling everybody." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't trust you guys. You guys say a lot of games are cool and they're not." So, but this is just one of those things. I skipped it because the art style, and my wife didn't want to play it with me, and then I just got it for myself because I was on a kick and it was on sale, and I started playing it and I'm like, "Dude, this is it. This is it." And she was watching me and she was like, "Can we play together?" And I was like, "Actually, yeah." So we spent literally all of Sunday. We spent like 9 hours, I think, on Sunday playing this game and got a lot of progress. That was after this run, but now we have, gosh, I don't know, 10 characters unlocked and all kinds of stuff. You unlock characters with the gold, so getting these chests and getting the gold out of them is a big deal, because like these giant chests like this give you more gold. Like this is one of those 5 bangers I was talking about, and the amount is almost 1,000. I've had a couple over 1,000, and that's a lot. You use the gold for when you die, you go into the menu and you have your power-ups, which are permanent augments to, you know, and passive abilities to your character, so you have a little bit of a head start every single time. And then it's the same thing with the characters. Like this guy starts with the garlic, and so that gives me 1 free garlic level right off the bat. I don't have to worry about. Later, I unlock another character that actually he starts with the Bible, and it actually works better to go the opposite way. See how my Bible's going right there? That's the evolution version. It's a red Bible with a V on it, so I call it the V Bible. Obviously, it's a vampire Bible, and it just goes non-stop and nothing can get through. And it just melts bosses, it melts everything. And it was there was a run during the stream we did yesterday where we actually got Death stuck. Like he got stuck in a spot and he just stopped moving. And between that and then me keeping, like, I kept freezing him, and then I stood on him, like I stood where the Bible just kept hitting him constantly. We did that for long enough that it should have killed him, but then a second Grim Reaper showed up and got right on us, and we couldn't you know, do anything about that because it was like instant. But there you go. It's like we got him stuck in a way that he should have died, and instead a second one showed up. So maybe you can't kill him, because he actually, like, I mean, I don't know how much health he would have, but he takes damage, and if you take damage, you have a health number, I would assume. And we were doing so much. But as you can see, the Roomba, the magic Roomba here, just goes around, whoop, erasing everything and sucking up the loot. I think at this point I've got a pretty good radius to go into. But like, that's another thing is once you get it, like, every time you play, you might have a build in mind, but it's based on luck. So even if you have a build in mind, it doesn't matter because you might not get it. There are several times I've gotten like one item, but then I never get the other one that I want. And it's just, like I say, I describe it as a combination of luck and skill. You gotta have the skill to survive long enough to get leveled up, and you gotta have the luck to get the level up to options that you want. And so it's like both things at play. Like, just being good at it is not enough. You have to be good at it, but you also have to be lucky, so just being good at it doesn't matter. And I guess I like games like that because despite my history of being really good at video games, somehow in my older age, I have declined. And I am just not as good as I used to be compared to the generations growing up with video games and internet. So when a game is not just based on being able to play it faster or better, I like that. And this is one of those. You got to have enough skill to stay alive. You got to have strategy. Like sometimes you got to make split-second decisions. Like you got to like dodge and weave through a nice little opening that just like a small tiny little needle hole that opens up. Like you just got to get it. And so there's like strategy and skill involved. And like I said, when you don't have a build like this, like this build is crazy. And you have to get, like I said, lucky. And you have to get along far enough to get it to a point where it is just unstoppable. And that's why I love about games like this. So you gotta like work with different options. And then we've gotten some new characters that have unlocked some different new weapons that change the game even more. And that's the other thing. You start playing with another character, you're like, oh wow, this is actually fun too, and this is challenging. Or you come up with a new idea for a new build, and just like this evolved, I got the garlic one time and I was like, that's what I needed, an area thing to keep me safe from the easy stuff that keeps getting past my projectiles. And then from there I just started getting options that I was like, oh wait, if that applies to this and it mixes, that's really good. And then here I am, just old man stinky balls walking around with my Bible, thumping the hell out of everybody. We were live streaming the entire thing, but muted and not talking, just gameplay. But we were talking obviously in real life, and yeah, there was some funny things being said about feeling the power of Christ slapping down 1,000 demons and things like that, because it's really funny. You're just like, the whole time I'm like, give me my Bibles, give me my Bibles, excuse me. Like a boss would show up, it's like, excuse me, have you heard about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Come here, let me tell you. And then I smack the crap out of him with the Bible. But it's just a fun game, and it's a fun game type, and I want more games like this, but with the same amount of depth and not just cheap copies. Because let me tell you, that Zombie Survivors game, it's a really good looking copy, but it's like Temu made it, because there's no content to it. Like 5 levels and 5 characters, and there's like, yeah, you get like the same sort of deal where you have things to upgrade, permanent upgrades and stuff, but once it's over, it's over. It's very like, there's no substance. There's no like, the maps don't seem to have all the secret shit on them and everything that this game has. So one of those things, you know, when you make a game, even when it looks and runs really good and you're basing it off of a really good idea from another game, you can really mess it up if you don't do it right. And like, you gotta have content. You gotta have, and like a game like this, you need an endless amount of like ridiculous weapons and power-ups and things that will mix together and break the game in a way that you didn't expect as the developer, because you didn't even care about that. You just want it to be fun and there to be a bunch of crazy cool shit. And this game is like that, where like, as crazy as it gets and everything is like, you make a crazy build, like as soon as you do that, you unlock another character with a new weapon, or another maxing out every weapon so far has unlocked a better version of that like weapon. So then you end up getting like a newer build because you're having like new, like better versions of the things unlocked. So I actually can't wait to see what kind of builds can be done. And also, like, I haven't got through the DLC and stuff, but is every DLC just a clone of this, where you're literally just doing what I'm doing now, but it looks different? Which for me, like I said, I love this kind of thing, but it also, even my favorite games like Destiny, any game can become like, eventually, it's like, the best way to describe it is like that phenomenon where if you say a single word enough times in a row, it loses all meaning, and you're like, what is this word? What am I like? It. I don't know if you've done that, but it's something that we used to do it all the time when we were kids. Like, you just say a word so many times that it loses all meaning, and it's like weird. Well, it's like that with games for me, and at some point it gets to a point where you're like, what is this? Like, this is like Destiny. You get to a point where you're just grinding. People have turned it into a gaming term. They call it grind. Oh, you're grinding, that's the grind. But like, to me, that's just like when it gets boring, where I'm like, oh, I noticed it. When you start noticing the grind, that's when it sucks. And so if I start playing the next, you know, the DLCs, and I'm like, oh, this is just this, I don't know, I might lose some of my interest, so that'll suck. But hopefully it's not like that. However, with a game type like this, it's so simplistic, and also it's so basic. Like, how do you not repeat the same thing, basically? Like, how do you gotta have an area effect, you gotta have spinning effects, you gotta have different types of projectiles, you gotta have different types of effects for those projectiles. There's always so many of those things that exist, such as bouncing off of screens, you know, piercing, and then like, oh, piercing and bouncing, that's a good combination. Oh, lightning, okay, piercing, bouncing, and lightning, that's basically the same thing, because lightning chains, so that's like a piercing bounce. Like, all these things are like, you can only do so much with it, is what I'm saying. It's like a Taco Bell menu. You got the same 5 ingredients, and you can only do so much with them, and it's how you do it. And so for me, when I start to notice the ingredients menu, that's when I start to be like, I guess I'm gonna move on to something else now. But all of that said, in one take, without a script or without any sort of breathing, I'm obviously holding my breath this whole time. With all that said, this game is amazing, and it's like a great couch co-op, time killer, nostalgic, classic retro take, and it's just a good time. So if you're like me and you're into these kind of games, and you can convince other people to play with you or play by yourself, it's a really fun time. You can make some cool builds, like old man Fartballs and his Roomba magical eraser. But as you can see, it's getting to the 28-minute mark, so you start leveling up like this. Like, I don't know if that's a thing for hitting a certain level, or if that's, I just picked up all, like, sometimes something drops a magnet ball and you get all the XP without realizing it. So I don't know what that is, but it seems like towards this point, 28 minutes, we always get like a bunch of like all of the upgrades in a row. You get to a point where you run out of level ups, and you can't upgrade anything anymore, and it just lets you choose between health and gold, which, I mean, what do you need health for if nothing's touching you? So go for the gold. But it ramps up the enemies to like the strongest types or the heavier types. Like, these bats they used to drop chests. I thought they were all gonna drop chests. I was like, dude, we're gonna get so many chests and so much gold. But nope, it's just throwing all of these at you at the end. And it seems to be the same formula, which, again, like, what other formula are you gonna use? Because that's it. Like, you can't ramp it up anymore, so now you just throw the hardest things at it until the end. And those waves of bats used to suck, but they actually are now, they're just waves of XP, and I run into them because I want them. But they do suck because they push enemies into you, so like, they will push harder enemies right into you and kill you if you touch them. These games look like chaos, but it's, again, if you know, you know. And I know you know. I hope you know. I hope you know I love you, because this is a long video. It's a long session. And if you're still here, you're a trooper. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the likes and subscribes and stuff, you know? Why not? I don't just... I play lots of things. I'm pretty manic when it comes to what I make videos on and what I do. And if you haven't caught on by now. So, it's not that I don't... Like, I wish I could do everything. Oh, here comes death. Here he comes. Oh, this is my best run. So, right at 30 minutes, he shows up. But my freeze kept hitting him, and I could get away for a little while. And then those pools are doing so much damage. So, I thought if I could keep freezing him and running away, I'd be good. But as you can see, there's another death. Like, that's not the same one. Because that one was behind us. And this one is right here. I just noticed that right now as I'm watching this back and playing, talking. Oh, and see, oh, but he froze. I got him froze. We're like, all right, I'm gonna get him in the Bible, and this worked out really good. Like I figured he would that would have done it, and then he can't hurt me because my thing. I have another protection, and then he gets frozen. So I'm like, this is working. This is working. And like I said, we actually got him to stick in a place. And I was able to just do that. And he should have died. This time, I'm not sure. But either way, this is the best I've done. And I just got lucky that the freeze just goes... It seems to go in a clockwise direction. And it's hard to, like, get away from him long enough. Oh, see, and here's the second one. So now we got two. And I mean, they're getting tripled up on. They're getting frozen, they're getting potioned, they're getting the Bible on them, and then they kill me. So, that's how the game works. But that's okay, because look at all that gold I got. I was able to go back and level up. And I hope to see you out there later. Love you guys. Bye!
What was that? Oh, yeah. Hey, your mom wants you to subscribe if you could, please. Thank you.